Hey, hi everyone. My name is Akira Kopec. I'm from the Center for Civic Engagement, and I'm here with Vestal Town Council candidate Matthew Padbury. Thanks so much for being here, and let's get started. To start off, I just want to ask why you're running for Vestal Town Council and how your past experience has shaped you for this role.
So I decided to run. Things local politics wise has been pretty up and down the last couple of years here in Vestal. So that kind of got me interested in running. Um, uh, Running for town board has always been an interest of mine. But I have two young kids, so I was just kind of waiting for them to get to an appropriate age where I would be able to commit the time to the town board that would be required. So they've reached that age. And now I just want to expand and use my experience as being a union leader and my government experience and try to move our town forward in a better direction. And at the end of the day, my motivation for it overall is I want to leave my mark and make things better going into the future and make sure that we have something to leave that's worth leaving to our children and future generations. I think we've lost that not only at the local political level, but I think we've lost it all the way up to the top. And I think that's something we desperately need to get back.
Absolutely. As a young person, it's nice to hear that.
Yeah.
So the next question is, if you are elected, give me some of your top priorities for the city.
So some of my top priorities are, making sure that we're doing zoning in the appropriate places. I know one of the hot topic issues is the Bun Hill, the retreat at Bun Hill, which is directly related to BU. Um, I don't necessarily know if that's the most appropriate place for that, but I think it's important that going into the future that the town identifies places that are appropriate for student housing and housing in general, as well as low income housing and housing for veterans and homeless. Um, those are all priorities that we need to look at. So I would be looking to work with the current town board, town supervisor, and try to push some of those initiatives. Um, and then also fiscal responsibility. Vestal's got one of the higher tax rates in the county in Broome County. Um, but we have good services and maintaining those services while maintaining our current level of taxes is important. And I think, given my experience with working for the government for the last 20 years, I think I can bring a unique perspective in that aspect to the town board.
For sure. You kind of touched on it a little bit with that answer, but if there's anything else you want to touch on in terms of like the housing needs and how you plan to address them for both students and residents in Vestal, I know it's a big concern for college kids at BU, but also families living in the area.
Yeah, and I think one of the primary things is like we've got to find the appropriate areas for those, and in identifying those in being on the inside, obviously you're going to have more information and be able to identify those a little bit easier. But it's a concerted effort between not only the residents but as well as the students in making sure that we're putting those in appropriate places is really what my primary focus would be.
Sounds good. So just last question, if there's anything else you'd like to share that will help students kind of decide who deserves their vote in these upcoming elections.
Yeah, and one of the other things that I guess I'd like to touch on, and would probably be a policy thing, is BU and the students that it brings is a valuable asset to the town of Vestal and Broome County as a whole. Um, but I think all of our local politics, whether that be the city of Binghamton, the town of Vestal, town of Union, we need to figure out a way that we can convert students from being short-term residents while they're going into school, and then maybe capturing some of that population and making them long-term residents of all of our, not just the town of Vestal. Obviously, that would be my primary goal, would be to convert them into town of Vestal residents. But I think we could uplift the whole area if we're focusing on how do we maintain or convert students into long-term residents. And one of those is going to be jobs. Obviously, if there's no jobs here, nobody's going to want to stay. So, though in high quality jobs, not just the service industry jobs that we tend to see in this area. So, again, that's one of the areas that I would look to pursue, and given my union experience, I think we can do that. But that's going to start with having a stable government and a solid foundation at the local level.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. This recording will be available for BU students to access through the Center for Civic Engagement website.
Okay.
And as always, the Center for Civic Engagement welcomes students to come in and ask any questions about voting or the local elections that you may have. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today.
Yeah, and I appreciate your time as well. If anybody has any questions, they feel free to check out my website. It's mattpadbury.com. I also have my contact information on there. Anybody can reach me at any time that they want. I do work full time during the day, so I usually tend to answer in the evening and later at night. So, but yeah, reach out at any time. And if you have any questions, have somebody reach out, and I appreciate it.